Though the festive season may have drawn to a close, we at Netrunners.co.uk believe that the gift of giving should be the whole year round, and so we bring you another cast from our November 2014 coverage of the Gloucester Death Association Games Bunker Tournament. And once more we have myself there on the right playing that rather lovely Kronos tour making news, and we have Nick from Worcester on the left there playing Kate. Again, this is from my nice, lovely Scorchy Death Manhunt deck that you would have seen from previous casts. One that has gone through a number of iterations over the past couple of months. As I say, the new version's packing sort of sands in a more standard agenda mix. It's gone not traditional, it's still packing the key cards, the information overloads, the data ravens, manhunts, and universal connectivity fees, information overload, and all that jazz. There's some tasty cards still. I'm going to start off with a double sweepsweep and ice, and that's not a bad start at all. The only way that could have possibly been better is if Andromeda was sitting across the table from me. But equally, Kate there has the early doors prepaid voice pad, which is never bad, as well as the Dirty Laundry, which you'll play, I'm guessing, against HQ. Yep. Yep. Yes, he is. I think he's going to draw, first, and then Dirty Laundry, so that's fine. Sees a universal connectivity fee in hand. It's worth definitely acknowledging that, because, again, it's one of those cards that people can really get caught by, and knowing it's there is not inconsiderable, I would say. Very much worth pointing out. It's a 2 strength, so there's a couple of good solutions for it, particularly in Shaper, who have the option, obviously, of playing an Atman at 2, though anyone who plays around with Atman and Kate will know that 2 is not an ideal strength for it to be at, even with a Data Sucker on the board. Ditching a Gordian Blade early, that's a surprise. I'm going to install Jackson Howard and draw twice. And already I'm feeling in a fairly good position here. Shinobi there in hand. Shinobi's one of these cards that kind of gets automatically included, I suppose, in a Scorch deck of this nature. It didn't really work for me, to be truthful. It's probably one of those ideas that's nicer in practice nicer in theory than in practice. Having the money to be able to actually res the Shinobi and then kill someone with it is unlikely, I'll say, unless you're running kind of uber economy like celebrity gifts and so forth. Anyway, he's going to run R&D. I will res the information overload. Despite the fact he has no tags, it's still an encounter 1, trace 1, gain a tag, which I can bump up to trace 3. Yes, he's got a link, so it's not the worst thing in the world to pay 2 to get through it, but then that's still a halfway sensible taxation. I also obviously have the option here of bumping the trace up to the point where I could take the prepaid voice pad out to make sure he has to take the tag. I think it was probably the right call not to do that at this stage. Just again, mainly because prepaids are okay. I understand why everyone packs them in Kate. It makes sense logically. I don't rate the deck archetype particularly as a whole. I must admit I find it quite slow and cumbersome. That's probably a personal preference thing. So I mean, I wasn't too bothered about wiping it out, but again, I could have given him a tag there and forced it to stick. I don't think I've got a Scorched Earth in hand. He does see there the universal connectivity fee again when he ran on HQ. And he doesn't have the money, I think, to take out the Jackson Howard at the moment, which is a shame, because that probably would be quite a potent thing to do. The last thing you need at this stage is me drawing up endlessly and taking out, drawing up into Scorch, effectively. That's what you want to try and avoid in this situation. And now you've seen quirky cards, you've got to think anything can happen. I will draw. Sorry, that's mandatory draw, rather, I should say. Looks like another sweep sweep, which I'll play. So that's all 3 sweep sweeps for maximum amount of 4. He's had 5 in hand every time. Got an SMC on the board, but not a lot of money. I'm going to install, I think they're prepaid, crumbs. Pad campaign, that's the word I was looking for, sorry ladies and gentlemen. Had a bit of a mind melt there for a moment, so I'm going to install what I think is a pad campaign there. And then pass the turn after drawing up to a Jackson as well. He will use his prepaid voice pad to play Quality Time, drawing 5 cards, seeing a lucky find there, which is nice. And another prepaid voice pad. Again, Quality Time, another one of those cards that I just can't quite get my head around. It's expensive and it's slow and it's... I know you're drawing through a lot of the deck, which isn't bad. More cards, good, absolutely, I understand entirely. But, card advantage certainly isn't quite as important as it would be in Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone. But nevertheless, it's just... yeah, I always find myself drawing up a ton of cards with Quality Time and then never having the money to actually be able to do anything with them. I just prefer Diesel every single time. Though obviously I understand that a lot of decks will run both. but not me. So he will play the point there, the voice pad, and he will lucky find for his last 2 clicks and then pass the turn. I'll res a pad campaign at the end of his turn and take my mandatory draw. I'm ditching a scavenge by the looks of it there. Some great cards, obviously with the dog breakers being out as well. We see those quite a lot throughout the tournament. Being able to play a lady and break that Eli for 1 credit is not inconsiderable. This is a deck without Eli, heavens above, one of the very few I must admit. Though again, Eli really has taken a hit with lady. It's, you know, breaking it for 1 is not great from a court perspective. You know, they really want them to be either A, using data sucker tokens, or B, clicking through it, or C, paying 4 credits with the corroder. I haven't actually played a corroder out in any of my decks for a very, very long time. Lady is just straight up better, I find, in most instances. Very few cases where I've thought to myself, playing Shaper, you know what I really want to see now? I really want to see a corroder. And I never thought I'd see the day where I take corroder out of my decks, I must admit. He's going to run R&D and see a pop-up window, so he will pay 1 credit to get through that, and potentially then another 2 to get through the information overload, if he wants to go through an access. And I'm not sure if he does, but nevertheless we will see if that is the case. Having a good old think about it. Maybe he wants to bring something out. Could bring out a parasite, perhaps, to pop off the pop-up window. Or he could be looking for something to deal with the information overload. It's a 4 strength. So, I mean, again, an Atman at 4 is never necessarily the worst strength for an Atman. Does he have... He's got 1 in hand. I'm not sure how many he'll be running in this deck. He could be running more than 1. I would imagine he probably is. Sorry, my headphones are a bit clicky at the moment. I do apologise. Down in my cold cellar, dank dungeon. So he's going to carry on. Looks like he's just going to pay to get through the trace and access, seeing nothing. And it is a bit of a quandary, obviously without the quandary itself, as to whether you do pay to go through the trace. I think you kind of got to. You don't want to go tag me at this stage. It's the reason why I res the information overload in the first place. It is to make these things a little bit more taxing than it has to be for him. Because I had no other ice to be able to play around with. Obviously I have that Shinobi, but that Shinobi isn't particularly ideal. Obviously with the advent of Source, the release of Source, rather I should say, Gemini is definitely a card, but in the interim, this deck actually did pack a Muckraker, which is a 4 subroutine, Tracy, give lots of tags, then the run if tagged, strength 3, the runner does gain a bad pub, for the privilege of me resing that, though I will say that, again, it's one of those cards that is great if no one expects it, but as soon as someone knows it's there or hovering around there in the deck, it's very easy to deal with. Obviously the ideal solution is to bring out a Mimic, and break it for 4 credits, which is still quite an investment, particularly if you're cracking SMC to be able to do so. That's still 9 credits then to break through that Muckraker. If you had Data Sucker tokens out at this stage, I'd imagine that Parasite would be the more ideal solution. I'm not sure what he's looking for here, whether he has Mimic in the deck. I do feel that Shaper decks need Mimic still, particularly with Architect being popular, Kamainu, Tsurugi, all those kind of cards that sit and hover around 3 strength. Bringing an Atman out, which is a surprise, so it's costing him 5 to bring out the Atman, plus another 3 to get up to strength. I'm pretty sure that's all his money. I don't think he'll have the ability to break any of the traces. If so, that is definitely not the solution that he wants to bring out on the board here. I'm not sure whether that's because he doesn't have any other solutions for dealing with sentries, perhaps beyond Fem, which is generally an auto-include in any Shaper deck. Not too sure. Yeah, he's definitely putting it in at 3 strength, so he has no money left, which means now he's going to have to deal with the subroutines of Muckraker. Again, I'm going to bump the trace up on the first subroutine by 1, so that he cannot break any of them, even with the link he has on the board. So he'll take 3 tags and end the run, because he is tagged. And looks like he's just going to take some money, or was that the bad publicity one he was putting down? Yeah, I think he's just taking money, so I'm going to take one for pad campaign. So I'm in a good place now. He's tagged. Probably what I should just think about doing here, to be honest, is just scoring out, to be honest. I'm not scoring out, probably looking for the Scorched. I think I do try and score out, but it's probably the wrong call. Obviously, with the market research in hand, I kind of want to get rid of it and score it when he's tagged, because he's only on 3 tags. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that he clears tags and tries to carry on with the game where he can. He's going to draw up. I'm not sure how many cards he had there. I didn't have a Scorched in hand, so he could have been in flatline territory. I think he was pretty sure he was on. Yeah, he must have been on 4. He's got loads of cards in hand there. But he's got to assume that's probably an NAPD, I'm guessing. Unless he's expecting something else. You probably think that's an NAPD. And this is the great thing about having a deck with market research and with NAPD. Everyone assumes it's one or the other. It's either an NAPD or market research, and invariably it ends up being the opposite. In this case, I'm going to be quite happy and greedily score out a 3-pointer for doing very little. My mandatory draw, and I will then trade in those 3 credits, advance it 3 times, and score market research, which he'll look at. Again, as I mentioned, he is a new player. He's only been playing for a couple of months, but market research, definitely not one agenda you see being played that often. It's not like NBN has a shortage of good agendas to be able to play. But again, I was playing this market research in lieu of Beal, because I didn't want to pack psychographics. This deck kind of... You can only really take so much tag punishment in this deck. You definitely want to run 3 Scorches. You definitely want to run the key pieces of ice that let you punish tags as well. Beyond that, you want to be careful how many cards you're having to keep in hand for a rainy day, i.e. keeping the psychographics and the Beal in hand for a long time because you're hoping that they'll go tag me, keeping the Scorches, all that kind of thing. Looks like I drew another market research there in hand, which I'm going to install in advance. And again, probably a misplay, I think, to be honest, probably a misplay. He's in a good place money-wise again now, I think, with the prepaids. And, yeah, I'm just going to take a credit and pass the turn. He'll draw. He's got an SMC there in hand, which I think he's going to, yep, he's going to play. So he's going to play out the SMC. Take my word for it, definitely is an SMC. He's going to install it and then click to run on the remote, which is definitely the right play. I will then res a Draco for 1, and now I'm debating what strength to put it in. Obviously I don't want to put it in at 3 strength, because that's what his man's at, not that I would do that anyway. I think so the choices here are probably 4 strength or 1 strength. I think I misplay here. I think I probably put it in at 4, and the correct play I think here would be to put it in at 1. So it's beyond Parasite range, but his Atman can't break it. He's not exactly flush with cash, and so I do put it in at 4, and I think that's a mistake, because I've now left myself too few credits to be able to actually make the trace hit. So he's able to go through and break it with his bad pub and his link. So a misplay there, I think, on my part. We do make him. I do make him occasionally. This was quite a new deck at the time, and this was probably my first occasion properly testing it in a tournament setting. And I do make a couple of misplays that could have been a little bit stronger, and this is definitely one of them. And that being said, a Draco at 4 is good for the long game, and at least I've now got a decent piece of ice there on the remote ready to score from, if that's the way I choose to go. Though again, with a Jackson Howard on the board, I probably should just be drawing up the Scorched here, and as I've already said, I think this is a misplay on my part generally, not just to go and do that. He will score the market research though. He only gets it for 2 points though, and that is the strength of the agenda, in very much the same way that overscoring a Beal is all upside. He will draw into a Dirty Laundry, which is pretty darn good. And I'm completely out of cash here. I've got the pad campaign on the table, but 1 credit's not going to do a great deal. He'll Dirty Laundry Archives. This is the kind of stage where I wish I had a Manhunt on the board to really tax him a little bit further, though obviously he would have scored the agenda and got rid of it anyway. So, I'm in an economic pit here. I've seen a lot of my economy cards in the early game anyway. It's all my sweeps there in archives. Haven't seen any hedge funds yet. I do have a Scorched in hand now, which is nice. I'm going to install and take 2. I'm not sure what that is there actually on HQ. could be the universal connectivity fee. Maybe, again, I've got a couple of agendas in hand. I'm just thinking that could stop him dead in his tracks, and it certainly would. He's going to draw. I'm probably just trying to bait the run. He's going to install a data sucker for free. He's going to run archives by the looks of it and pass the turn over to me. I'm going to take credit from the pad campaign and draw. So again, I think I'm making the mistake here of just trying to go and draw. I should be drawing, just finding an extra scorch and going for the win. I'm on 3 credits already. I just think I'm realising this a little bit too late. I think I'm putting a data raven there on archives, which is definitely the wrong idea, taking 2 credits. Excuse me. Passing the turn over. I mean, he's only on 2. It's not like it's, again, going to lose me the game, but I think these are definitely less than optimal plays coming from my part. I'm having a quick look in his heap to see what's there. So trade-in is there, and so forth. It's fine, nothing there that's going to threaten me too much. No parasites, importantly, he hasn't seen those, though he does have a data sucker now and an SMC on the board. So he could start doing his parasite recursion thing, drawing up into another prepaid voice pad there. He's going to run HQ, which I'm happy for him to do, because I'm going to hit him full throttle with a universal connectivity fee. And so he either has to now go and fetch the Atman and put it in at 2 strength, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the money for, or take it to the face and lose all his money. He's got a sure gamble in hand there as well, which he would have been able to have played if he had played it first, because he's got the prepaid voice pads on the table and enough cash to be able to play it. So probably did this in the wrong order, I dare say, but as it is now, it's going to set him back a turn, because he's going to have to lose all his credits, and he's not going to be able to play that sure gamble anymore. Even with 2 prepaids out on the table, he's going to have to take 3 and then, again, spend a whole turn effectively getting that sure gamble on the board. So he will lose all his money and jack out, and he's obviously not going to hit the raker at this stage. It'd be foolish too. I'm on 3 credits. I'm still sat in scorchy territory, but I need to find another one. So I need to get up to 6 now. This is the key. And I don't know what I'm faffing around with, but there we go. He's going to take 2 credits, and I think pass the turn over to me. Oh, sorry, he's going to take 2 credits. I think he probably played an extra click there, to be honest. Oh no, because it cost him 1 less. Sorry, so yeah, he took a credit, and then played out another prepaid. So he's on to 3 prepaids now. That is correct. I'm wrong, sorry. Another information overload there in hand, which I'm thinking of playing on our HQ potentially. No, I'm playing it on the remote. So I'm going to install and take 2. And again, I still think I'm thinking about scoring out here. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, crumbs. Just need to score. Just need to, not score, I need to draw up for the second Scorched here. Go for the win before he does find a Plascrete, which is a distinct possibility. He will do exactly what I said and pretty much spend most of his turn getting up to short gamble territory. He's got 1 click left, he's going to draw, which he has to do, otherwise he would have been Scorched there. I'm going to dip below 4 cards. I'm going to draw again. So I see an NEPD. I have realised now, I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing? So I've actually drawn up, I've seen the second Scorched, and that was in fact click 2, click 3, double Scorched, end of the game. Thank you very much. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, but I think I do finally have that epiphany and go and do what I should have been doing about 3 turns earlier. But there we go, that is the danger of the deck if you take those early tags. I mean, Muckraker proved his worth there in doing that. I'm still not sure, I'm entirely convinced about it, but it certainly has the potential to do high damage if someone's not expecting it. And in that instance, another card that was able to enable the double Scorch play, which has won me all 3 rounds so far. 1 round left, join us there. We look forward to seeing you again soon.